Hello everyone. This is Starry Ari's ASMR. I am Ari, and today I have this shoebox in front of me that I would like to open with you. And as you can see by the writing here, this box is from Vessi. And I imagine many people have probably heard of Vessi. I feel like they were really big with sponsoring influencers not too long ago, just over the last few years. And Vessi is a brand that does waterproof shoes. But they are a really interesting design because it is almost like a fabric, but it's completely waterproof. It's not just water resistant. And aside from my wedding heels, Vessi's are the most expensive shoes I have bought. And shoes can be very expensive generally, but I usually get my shoes secondhand, or I just get shoes at discount stores, things like that. And so I don't like to spend a lot of money on shoes. And these shoes are actually the third pair of Vessi's that I've had. And the first pair I loved. I wore them so much. They were perfect for throwing on really quickly to take our dog on her walks in the morning, and even during the summer when the grass isn't wet from rain or dew. The sprinklers were still usually going in the mornings, so the grass was usually really wet. And so it was so nice to be able to have comfortable, casual wear shoes that were waterproof, so I wasn't having to wear my clunky rain boots on longer walks. And it was just nice to have some options. And then I got a second pair that was just in a different style because I loved them so much. And that pair I also really liked. However, the waterproofing started to fail, I think after about 9 or so months of me having the shoes. And generally that shouldn't happen, and Vessi has a policy for a 1-year warranty on their shoes. And I'm usually not somebody to do this, but I did put in the warranty request. I honestly assumed that they would probably deny it because I feel like I'm pessimistic about companies actually following through, but I just kind of told them, hey, I've bought shoes before. I don't know if it's just this model, but these ones, I'm starting to, my socks are getting wet. And they were like, oh no, okay, here is a full credit for what you paid for those shoes, and you can get anything on the website. And so that was really, really great, and I was very excited to be able to get a new pair of shoes and not have to spend the money. So I think that these shoes in here retail for about $140. For me, these are very expensive shoes, and I really like them. My husband also has Vessi's. He wears them out a lot faster because he is somebody that typically will only wear one pair of shoes until they're done and then get another pair of shoes. I like to kind of mix and match my shoes, and so they just kind of naturally last, a longer time. And the very first pair that I bought, I had gotten around one of their sales in my the actual non-sale price. And they are one of those companies that does actually have non-sale times. Like, I know that there are some companies that show you a sale price, but the item is like always at that sale price. That hasn't been the case when I've looked at Vessi's website. So if you're interested in trying a pair, I would say maybe like wait a little bit or kind of look up when they maybe do regular sales and see if you could get it cheaper. So I am excited to open these shoes up. I did go for a different style than my first pair and from the ones that these were replacing. So I'm excited to check these out. And that was a very long, rambly intro, but let's go ahead and take a look inside the box. Is the inside of the box. You can see that they have wrapped the shoes in this very crinkly paper. And I did order these online. I don't know if Vessi actually has any physical stores, but I ordered these online and they actually came really quickly. And my previous orders with them, that had not been the case. And the shipping took like a really long time. And I think that might have been because they were based in Canada, and I don't know if they now have manufacturing facilities in the United States or shipping facilities in the United States. I'm not sure why this one did not take as long, but I was glad. I mean, it came within a week, so I was excited about that. So let's maybe open up this paper. I see a little desiccant packet. Kind of makes a nice fun sound. And these just kind of help keep moisture out of the product. So you throw this in like a silica packet, and I think that it like draws any potential moisture into this so that it doesn't like ruin the shoes or the clothing or whatever they're shipping. I didn't think I would like the sound of this as much as I do. Alright, I'm going to set this off to the side and stop playing with it. Let's see how quietly I can open up these shoes. Here are the shoes. I'm going to take out the first one. There's another silica packet down there. But this is what the shoe looks like. So I went for a pretty casual sneaker look for the style. And it is gray. And I don't remember exactly what this style was called. I thought that they might have it somewhere on the box, but I don't think they do. Here is the bottom, and you can see that it says Vessi in the tread here. And their branding kind of has this like deep, almost like teal color. And I got these in size 9. I don't know if you're going to be able to see on here. The women's size 9. And I am not very tall, but I have kind of large feet. And I feel like their size 9s work pretty well for me. I would say if anything they might be on the smaller side, but I also have very like narrow feet and their shoes are quite narrow. And I feel like they fit my foot really, really well. So if you have really wide feet or you tend to be kind of at the higher end of your size, I would maybe suggest like sizing up. So I'm going to take out the second shoe. This is the right shoe. And I think I will remove this lovely shoe box. And here are the shoes. Feels a little weird to have shoes on my desk, but they generally look pretty clean on the bottoms. So these are a gray color, pretty neutral gray. And then parts of the shoe like this detailing at the toe and part of the like tongue of the shoe. Is that what it's called? Although it's not really an actual traditional tongue because it's attached. But that is almost like a heathered gray pattern. So it kind of gives it a little bit of interest. But as you can see, this is a knitted material. And what you do when you get your shoes, first they suggest to run them under a sink to test and make sure that they are actually waterproof and doing their job and that you didn't get like a defective shoe. I think it's probably more like they tell people to do that so people can immediately see like, wow, this is great. And it has this kind of like knitted texture on the side as well, but I like how kind of casual they look. They're just like an everyday type of throw-on shoe. They're not very fancy, but you know, they do the job for my everyday and they are so convenient for our walks. And the bottom rubber here is white, and they have lots of different styles and colors. I'm usually a fan of kind of a white rubber down here, but they do have some with like an off-white cream or a black. I think the ones my husband has might be all black. And they do have this little convenient tab at the back that you can hold, and it helps you slip on your shoe and like keep the this like ankle part back when you're trying to slide your shoe on. And these shoes, like I was saying earlier, do fit pretty tight. And the brand says that they are meant to, like that is the style of the fabric. And then it kind of forms to your foot a little bit better. But like I was saying, if you have some wider feet or tend to go kind of at the top end of your size range, I would definitely recommend sizing up. And it has this little tab here, kind of near the eyelets. Is that what those are called? I should have looked up like shoe parts before doing this video, where the laces get looped through. And that's kind of in their branding color, that teal. And then the shoelaces, which you could replace if you wanted. I don't think I ever really do though. They are in the same gray color as the shoe, but the little ends are that kind of deep dark teal color, the same color as this little tab here. Side of the shoe here says Cloud Comfort All Day with Dymatex technology. I think Dymatex is like the knit fabric style. That is the waterproof fabric. Yeah, I think that these are, they're shoes. They're not like the cutest shoes, but they're like good casual shoes. They're not shoes that I would really be wearing, out on a date, but I am very excited to have some new sneakers that I can wear. And honestly, my shoes have held up really, really well, other than the last pair not being waterproof anymore. But the actual, the fabric and the rubber and everything has held together pretty well for me. But like I said, my husband, who is much, much more rough on his shoes, they have kind of worn out quite a bit more. You can see some obvious wear on the toe box here on his shoe, but I think that maybe it's just the way he steps or something, but all of his shoes kind of wear out here. So I don't know what he's got going on. But yes, we have enjoyed these. I did a lot of research before we actually ordered them the first time, because again, they were very expensive for me. That was like a lot of money to spend on shoes. I think the first pair I got were maybe $110 or something like that. And I mean, shoes can be very expensive, but for me, that was like a lot to spend on shoes. On one pair of casual shoes. Like I said, the only more expensive shoes that I had ever bought were my wedding heels. But I was really excited for them and I really wanted to try them out. And we have actually gotten quite a few compliments on our shoes. It's funny, my last pair looked very similar to my husband's shoes. And so if we both wore them at the same time, it looked like we were kind of purposefully trying to match, which we generally don't do. But we had a few comments on them, and there were a few times when we were, walking around with friends or family that were visiting, and it was really rainy, and we would both just wear our Vessis, and we'd be able to, stomp around in the puddles in the parking lot, and everyone was always like, oh my gosh, those are so cool. And these are so convenient if I happen to step in anything on my dog walks, because other people in the neighborhood will just not pick up after their dogs. And walking through the park, sometimes it is hard to see that they have not picked up after their dogs. And these I have had to rinse off quite a bit, and they have always cleaned up really, really well. And I'm not worried about, like drying time, because again, if I'm rinsing the outside of them, they're waterproof, so the inside of the shoe is perfectly fine, and I can wear them again right away. I'm going to untie these laces. And I suppose you could wear them with the laces tucked in if you want. Some people prefer that style. You could wear them without the laces at all. I mean, I personally wouldn't. I feel like that might make these eyelets look a little bit empty. I usually just wear them with a little casual shoe knot. Just like that. And one of my pairs, I think it was maybe my first pair actually, for the first little while when I had them, they kept coming undtied. And I would like double knot them, and so that part wouldn't come untied, but the actual bow part would. And I just don't have that issue with other shoes, but I think it was just the shoelace being a little bit stiff, like more stiff than other shoelaces. And it was just like coming untied while I was walking. But over time, I think that kind of happened less and less. Like I think as the shoelaces kind of wore in. That's a really lovely sound, scratching on the fabric. And during the wetter seasons, I do still wear my rain boots quite a lot, and I have short, like Chelsea style boots. And so I do still wear those quite a bit, but like I said, it's nice to have casual shoes like this that I can throw on, especially if I'm going to be walking a lot. These are so much more comfortable than my rain boots, and they're so much less clunky. And if we're traveling and not really needing to dress up or get fancy or anything, these are really great for just kind of an all-purpose shoe. The other shoe, I'll have to untie them when I'm actually putting them on for the first time, but for the video I'll tie it. And then once I'm done with the video, I'm going to go test it underwater, make sure that these ones are good to go, and well, I'll probably try them on first before I do that, just to make sure they actually fit me. Okay. Here are a few clips of me playing in the puddles like a kid on our walk with my dog. And these shoes fit well. They worked great. I did accidentally splash a little bit of muddy water up on my sock, but the shoes themselves were waterproof, so the rest of my socks were perfectly dry. Alright, well, I hope that you enjoyed this short little unboxing of my new shoes. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful